class, in this video I'm going to go over some of the arteries and veins of the coronary circuit of the heart, so that provides oxygenated blood to the walls of the heart, and then the veins would take the oxygen poor blood then from the heart walls into the coronary sinus. Okay, so I'm just going to go over some of the major ones that you need to know. So first, let's go over the sulci. So this sulcus here, sulci are indentation, so this sulci here separates the atria from the ventricles, and then on this side as well separates the atria from the ventricles. That is the coronary sulcus. This indentation here, these are like covered in fat tissue. This sulcus here is the anterior interventricular sulcus because it's in between the ventricles. And then we have a posterior interventricular sulcus right here between the ventricles on the posterior side of the heart. Okay. This is the auricle of the left atrium, and you could see the pulmonary veins here. Okay, so first one we're going to go through is under the right atrium here. So this one here, this artery here, right below between the right atrium and right ventricle, this here is the right coronary artery. Okay, if we turn it this way and go to right above into the side of the left ventricle, this artery here, 19, okay, this one here, this is the circumflex artery. Okay, let's get to take this top portion off. It might make it easier to see everything here. Okay, so this here would be the coronary sinus. Okay, coronary sinus, labeled 20 on here. So this would bring oxygen poor blood after the arteries have dropped off oxygen rich blood to the walls of the heart. This will bring oxygen poor blood into the right atrium from the heart walls. Okay, so everything kind of converges into this coronary sinus here. Okay. Okay. This here is the great cardiac artery and vein. Okay, right between, on the anterior side between the ventricles here. Okay. This here is the middle cardiac artery and vein in the posterior side of the heart between the ventricles here. Okay. And that's really it on this heart. So this is that SAMSO heart that I went over in the other video. Now let's go to our American Heart Association heart here. Okay, so let's start on the outside. This here is the left coronary artery, 24L here, coming off. Okay, so I'm just going to go over ones that are labeled on this model here. This one here, 24L on here, is the left coronary artery. So right here between the right atrium and right ventricle there. Okay. And then in the back, you'd have the coronary sinus. So let me take this off of its stand. So 26, there is a coronary sinus. Okay, and that leads into our right atrium right there. So this would be the inferior vena cava. You can see it underneath here, leading into the right atrium. Superior vena cava leading into the right atrium. Here are our auricles on the atria there. Okay. Other structures we have in here would be the nodes. So you can see the sinoatrial node here. Okay, 32, the one with the circle. And then the atrioventricular node labeled 33 in here. Okay. What else we have in the right atrium here. So this was where the coronary sinus empties into the right atrium. This is where the inferior vena cava empties in. This is where the superior vena cava enters in. These are our two nodes that are found in the right atrium. This one, 31 here, is the fossa ovalis. So this is left over from fetal development, as well as this 18 here. Okay, that's our ductus arteriosum. Okay. In the fetus, in the adult, it's known as the ligamentum arteriosum. Okay, so ligamentum arteriosum in this heart, since this is showing an adult heart. Okay, so blood can't pass through here anymore in the adult heart. It's just tissue that is found between the aorta and the pulmonary trunk here. Same thing with this fossa ovalis. This is just scar tissue now in the adult heart. Okay. So that's our right atrium, and then 30 on here, this is the interatrial septum, which separates the right from the left atrium. So it's just the tissue found between the right and left atrium. Okay. And then this would be the interventricular septum, is the tissue that's found between the ventricles here. Okay. All right, so let's start with the right atrium. Blood then, oxygen poor blood then flows through this valve here, which is the tricuspid valve, and it's connected to the papillary muscles. And remember, the trabeculae carneae are the muscle on the inside of the ventricles walls, and then this muscle here on the inside of the atrial walls is the pectinate muscle. Okay, then oxygen poor blood fills this right atrium, and then it's pumped through this valve here. This is the pulmonary semilunar valve into the pulmonary trunk, and then pulmonary arteries. And now these arteries are shown as blue because there's oxygen poor blood here. Arteries always move away from the heart. Usually they're carrying oxygen, but in this case, they're oxygen poor because it's getting sent to the lungs, which would be on either side of the heart. Okay, and that's where the blood is going to become oxygenated. Okay, so this is the pulmonary artery, and then and then there would be pulmonary artery. This would be the right pulmonary arteries, and then these are the pulmonary veins, which takes oxygen-rich blood from the lungs and pumps it into the left atrium. Okay, then from the left atrium, blood is pumped through this valve here, which is the bicuspid valve, also known as the mitral valve. Okay, and these strings here, these heart strings, are known as chordae tendineae. Okay, chordae tendineae. And then you can see the papillary muscle that holds those heart strings and helps to push them closed, so they get pushed closed when there's a high pressure situation, so when this ventricle is filled with blood. Okay, then this here is our left ventricle. Always remember anatomical left and right, so this is the anatomical right side of the heart, this is the anatomical left. Okay, so then the oxygen-rich blood is pumped up through this valve here, that's the aortic semilunar valve, into the ascending aorta, aortic arch, and descending aorta. Okay, so blood is pumped through the descending aorta to the rest of the lower body below the diaphragm. And then up here we have 15, this is our brachiocephalic artery, 16 is our left common carotid artery, and 17 is our subclavian artery. So these pump blood to our arms, shoulders, neck, and head. Okay, we'll go over these in more detail when we get to blood vessels in the future. Okay, all right. So I think those are all the major structures you need to know in these two models.